Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. It is time once more for our weekly painting progress. And I gotta say, this week is like one of those 2 steps forward, 1 step back type deal. So, yeah, I got a bunch of stuff painted, but I had a bit of a mishap. A very large model that I won't name or point out had a base that I thought was hollowed, and I thought I did a thorough job of hollowing it. Well, as you can imagine where this story is headed, no, that was not the case. So when I saw what looked to be a puddle of resin dripping off one of my display cabinets, I immediately freaked out, went to start cleaning it, and every model surrounding it was basically kind of mired in place. And thanks to the way that the cabinet is, and the way the sunlight was hitting it, most of that drippy resin had started to cure. So, needless to say, many models, unfortunately, were destroyed in the process of trying to remove that resin and clean it up. Unfortunately, it had dripped over. Just the way it had dripped out of the base basically ruined a bunch of stuff. But you know what? I'm not going to dwell in the past. Yeah, I like that stuff, but I guess that is kind of a benefit and a joy of this hobby is there's always something new to look forward to, something new to try out, something new to put on the table. And so, yeah, I may have lost a fair amount of stuff that I really enjoyed. I'm going to take that as a positive. It gives me more space to put new stuff as well. So, yes, we'll take that positive spin then. So, like I said, I did get stuff done this week. Once again, everything is shinier than expected with that interestingly matte, finish that is supposed to be happening, but everything looks all shiny and glossy. Finished up another of the Mom Miniatures Marauder Barbarian types. Now, it should look familiar because I did one somewhat recently. His buddy here. Similar colors, similar schemes, but still a little bit different. I still wish that they actually had an axe hand, or a sword even. I mean, yeah, I know they're made for like Age of Magic Saga or whatever, but to me, I feel like they need some other options besides just the one that they got. So I got another one of those done. I also got another of the Titanforge Chaos Warrior Chosen types. I don't know. But these guys with just the crazy horns every which way. God, he's shiny. This is not a matte sealer. I am trying to finish this bottle off, though, so hopefully in the near future things will get back to a nice, actual shiny varnish. Non-shiny varnish. What am I talking about? So this is one that I painted previously. You can see he matches up fairly well, even though they weren't painted at the same time. They do have the same weapon, but very different bodies and heads. So, but there are still some similarities. One more done is one more done. I still may go back and touch up some of the little spiky bits around his face guard thing there that I can't think of the name of. Oh, I got another one of these War Games Atlantic Knights finished up. Wanted a yellow knight. I had this crazy idea since I have this core group of students, all older kids, that seem to be that group that probably a fair amount of us were a part of, that were more interested in doing other things than just running around on the playground at recess time. But also, they do have a longer lunch and they have nothing better to do, so they usually come and want to play games in my classroom. So, who am I to stop them? But I figure, what, since a lot of those guys are interested and have wanted to do something with gaming, well, why not let them? So I started painting up a bunch of the knights in actual, colors of local schools, which I thought would be kind of fun. And so we'll do something with that eventually. But I'm just playing around with the yellow one, seeing how turned out. One for myself this week is the Tempered Steel Shaper from Parabellum's Conquest game. And I thought I had the original one still handy. He always seems to hang around because I can't ever bring myself to paint him. I'm not a big fan of the original, but I'm a big fan of this guy as he's obviously painted. The way these guys work is they have been hanging around underground with the dragons too long, and so their bodies are going through all kinds of crazy transmutations. That's why his arm here is all rocky and has like crystals and junk growing out of it and got that weird texture, and his other arm's on fire. So yeah, they can control the elements and do kind of weird funky stuff with that, so I kind of figured why not lean into it a little bit more. It's just a weird funky Dweghom, which are their dwarves. So if you haven't seen them, I mean, I like that they're going more towards that bioorganic look with some of their guys. They just put out a new set recently, which hopefully one of these days I'll pick up. When that happens, I don't know, but we'll see. These guys are also kind of big, and so that's what I spent most of my time on this week was actually dwarves. So like I mentioned, I have a bunch of kids that always want to come and game and hang out in my classroom during their free time. And I thought to myself, well, if they want to learn these kinds of games and they're interested in miniature stuff, why not start them with something a little bit more easier? And no, I don't have Hero Quest. If I did, I'd probably see about getting that on the table for them. I don't know, maybe I'll write to Hasbro and see if they can offer me one, but I doubt it. I don't want to spend the money, and I don't think the school will budget me for that. But I had a copy of Dwarf Kings Hold sitting around that I had started to paint like when it came out. I don't even remember when that is now. If you guys want to educate me, put the date down in the comments, that would be super cool. But I know it was before the first Kings of War campaign, because I can kind of remember, you know, talking about that definitely before the Dungeon Saga Origin stuff. But I went out and I grabbed it from the garage and I dusted off the dwarves that some had been started and some had not, but I actually went ahead and got every single dwarf finished up, and they all are painted nice and individually, and I forgot how often Mantic's older stuff just kind of seemed to have sections of it disappear. And as we were talking about size, I mean, obviously it doesn't help that our friend here has these giant spikes and flames coming off him, but you can see there is a bit of a size difference. But if you wanted to use this as like some kind of exalted ancestor or something, that would totally be cool. I like this model a lot. I'm sure he'll be showing up in other games as well. So I don't even know if these are actually technically valid for a traditional game of Dwarf Kings Hold. Because, like, for example, where is it? Somewhere. Shoot, where is he? Ah, here he is. This guy has the long hammer, but he also has a shield. And I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. And I really did try to go back and paint all of their little details, and believe me, it was hard to discern what was actually what. I think it was supposed to be that the bodies with the capes got the long-handled weapons. And some of them, maybe not this guy. But again, I did try to get all those little gaps and edges and weird spots on them. Like, I still don't know what's going on. I think these are supposed to be like straps or something on the back of them, but I didn't paint them like that. And all their beards are different. This one, see that nice big gap there that I didn't even fit gluing them years ago? I don't even know if my kids were born when I bought that game. I feel like my cousin, who used to be the one that we gamed with regularly, I feel like I played it with him when he was like in junior high or high school. And he's like a commissioned officer now with the Navy, which is kind of crazy after he finished grad school. So, yeah, it was been a few years, I'd say. Did I paint his base? I did not paint his base. What happened? Shame on me. I'm going to have to go back and fix that. He's the only one that has a drinking cup, though. Trying to paint all their stupid daggers tucked on their belts there. They rank up fairly decently. But the best one is obviously this guy. I don't even remember if he's like uses a token or something in the game, but I figure I had him, I might as well put him to work, right? And I did the same with the dogs. The dogs are there. I obviously haven't started them yet. And I do have all of the skeletons. And I'm trying to think to myself how I want to do this. But I'm thinking just because there's so many of them and I don't want to paint them in the first place. But I will. I'm thinking I'm going to get like some nice bone colored, off cream type primer. And then that way I can just use like contrast paints on them and just get them done up real quick. I think that might be the way to do it. I'll base them first and then I'll contrast them and then I can paint their bases. That sounds like a plan, doesn't it? I like that plan. So overall, despite, like I said, me destroying everything, and believe me, there was some serious destruction, which is a shame. But it is what it is. It's just room for more models, right? And all in all, I gotta say, a nice little positive haul for the week. So I'm pleased with myself. And as always, we'll have those links if you want to track down any of this stuff yourself. If you want to post it, put that hashtag weekly painting progress. And I can pretty much tell you right now, my goal is to get rolling on those new plastic Khador guys for War Machine that Steamforged Games just put out. And if you haven't seen it, I put a video up of it the other day, and they get an absolute super high recommendation from me because I am just in love with those figures. They are really, really nice, and hopefully I can do them justice. Probably not, but I'm gonna try. And hey, you know what? Even mediocrity works when it comes to the tabletop. Painted is obviously better than not painted, and I've got some horrible flashbacks of like half-built models when it comes to War Machine. So for these absolute beauties to get a chance at getting some paint thrown on them, rather slapdashery, so be it, right? So, with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye!